What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so it was a couple of weeks ago now when Molly Qerim abruptly resigned from ESPN. It had been reported several hours earlier, leaked perhaps by ESPN, that she would be leaving the network at the end of the year. And leaving First Take at the end of the year. It has been reported now, since Molly Qerim resigned from ESPN and ESPN First Take totally, that even if she had agreed to stay on with ESPN with a new deal, she still would have been leaving ESPN First Take after this season. So that kind of tells me that the relationship between her and Stephen A. Smith was not as solid as people thought it was, And to further point to that direction, Stephen A. Smith, aka Stephen A. Snitch, on his YouTube show or podcast, when he spoke on that issue for the first time, he said it was nobody's business what's going on with Molly Qerim, but then he goes on to do nothing but give little clues as to what was going on. Basically make it seem like it was a financial decision and that ESPN felt like Molly wasn't worth what she was asking for and that Molly didn't have the leverage. That's pretty much what he said without saying it. He's a scumbag, man. So we all pretty much made the assumption it was probably financial, maybe something else going on. Hopefully it wasn't anything sinister like SA or anything like that, or SH, but ultimately it appeared to be a financial thing. So it winds up being that the reports that Molly was making $500,000 a year were correct. And basically contract negotiations broke down and she wasn't going to get any more money. And honestly, it seems like when you're digging into this thing, it all comes down to a few people getting the big bucks, that being Stephen A. Smith, that being Pat McAfee, that being Troy Aikman, I think Joe Buck. Those are people that's making like probably 17 million plus. So much so and so exorbitant were their salaries that ESPN had to cut a plethora of long-term personalities from the network to be able to afford their salaries. And they're really paying everybody else chump change. And I'm gonna tell you something. I know a lot of people don't like Molly. They thought that, she didn't really bring much to the show. But compared to what other people were making, she was making, in her market, very little money. To put it into perspective, Kendrick Perkins was making $750,000 from his old deal. Okay? Kendrick Perkins is a contributor for the most part. Like, he doesn't hold it down as a co-host or moderator, from what I can tell. He's more of a contributor, right? He appears on maybe a couple of shows a day, maybe does 30 minutes altogether of, airtime, maybe more. But, he's a guy that appear at a halftime show or what have you, right? Whereas Molly will be a moderator for 2 to 3 hours of First Take every day. So honestly, when people say she only has one show, yeah, but so does Pat McAfee. And nobody's like saying he's overpaid. So people can point to how they want to. I do think she was getting underpaid. Now, her getting Stephen A money, get the fuck out of here. She wasn't gonna get that. But ESPN could have given her more money. They could have given her $1 or $2 million a year. But, you know, honestly, I look at it at Stephen A. Smith, because if he had signed off on that, or if he had said, yeah, give it to her, then I'm pretty sure that ESPN would have done that, right? But he didn't. And, you know, when you look at Stephen A. Smith, quite honestly, this is a guy that I think when everything is said and done, a lot of people are going to look at real shady, because the key thing that Stephen A. Smith ever said, there's two things that he's ever said that stuck in my mind. The comment about, when I wake up in the morning, I think about how to make my bosses money and how I can get a little bit of it for myself, meaning that I'm an expendable indentured servant compared to the people who make the big, big bucks, and do not make an enemy out of me. Those two comments stick out in my head when it comes to Stephen Smith, what type of person he is. You know? I don't know. It's just, I just think that I just thought she should have got more money than what she did, man. I do think she, having been on the network for 10 years, I think that she deserved a little bit more than $500,000 per year. I know a lot of people saying that's a lot of money. It is compared to what average people make, but not in that industry. It's not a lot of money at all. Also, I'm gonna tell you something else that I'm suspecting, and maybe I'm reading into some stuff too much. But have y'all noticed, now that this has been put out there, did y'all notice that over the past several months, Molly, like when she tried to moderate the show and try to get them to stop talking and move on to another subject, Stephen Israel started becoming more belligerent and like refusing to listen to her. Have y'all noticed that over the years? Like when Stephen A. Smith, I put it like this, the old days when it was, hell, I would say when Kerry Champion was on the show. When Kerry Champion would try to moderate and get them to move on to another topic, Stephen A. Smith would acquiesce. He damn sure did that back in the day when, you know, it was him and Skip, and back in the day when it was Jay Crawford and what was the chick name? Dana Jacobson. Oh, he was on he always shut the fuck up then. But over time, because of his growing power and arrogance, I've seen him talk over her multiple times. Now, that could also be he want to make her look bad. She's not doing a good job moderating. Nobody respects her. I'm just saying, I don't put nothing past any of these dudes, man, especially Stephen A. Smith. I'm going to say something else, too. About a year, well, maybe not a year ago, about maybe 9 months ago, me and 78, we did videos about a woman who claimed to have been a former flame of Stephen A. Smith. And the media shut that shit down. Like, nobody even paid no attention to it. I'm going to tell you something. A a lot of stuff, if not everything she said about Molly Qerim was true. She was the first person I heard say that she made $500,000 a year. She said back in January on her Twitter page, X page, that Molly wasn't going to be on the network by the end of the year. She said that. And she said, now I don't know how true this is. This has yet to be determined. She said that behind the scenes, Molly Qerim tried to get Stephen A. For SA. Like she said, it was a bogus thing. It wasn't really a credible allegation, but this is like during the height of that shit. And she was saying that whenever she would call Stephen A. SA, that she was referring to that shit, like she was trying to be funny. Now that part, I don't know how true that is, but hey, she was right about a whole bunch of stuff. She said that Molly only made $500,000, and she said Molly would be off of ESPN by the end of the year, and all came true. Now, of course, with her being Team Stephen A., she's gonna be blatantly anti-Molly, so her point of view gonna be more slanted on that aspect. But we'll see, man, what happens in the future. I did see that Marcellus Wiley said that once Molly Qerim lands on her feet and like gets a gig, like a permanent gig, wherever she goes, he's gonna reveal more stuff that happens that's going on behind the scenes. So, get your popcorn ready. We have to see what's going on, man, because it's getting interesting out there. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.